biggest news of the week came out of the NBA, actually, which was
Yes, sir.
wasn't a shock in the fact that James Harden was traded, but just like it seemed to come out of nowhere on the day of.
Dude, I think the shock was like how in depth the trade was, and then how quickly it seemed to just like happen. Like that must not have been the first conversation, obviously, because like that was so fast.
I know for a while.
Yeah.
It was a weird trade though, because it just started off as this 3-team trade, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, by the way, Oladipo is being traded too.
Yeah, dude, which I love. I love that. What a steal by the Rockets. I think the Rockets made out like complete bandits here.
I think lots of teams made out really good in this trade, and I don't think the Nets are one of them.
No. And like I agree that it's not the same thing as like Pierce and Garnett because they're not old, right? Like James Harden is still very much in his prime.
They're arguably in their prime or like just at the
end
of their
prime. James Harden's prime is to score.
Yes.
James Harden's prime is not defense.
No.
It is not. Like playmaking for sure, he has the ability because the ball starts in his hand. But like now, when Kyrie decides to come back, if he decided to come back, I don't know.
Is it this time? Like who handles the ball on that team?
Like, okay, so when the Rockets usually came up floor, it'd be like he would carry the ball up because like that's how the team is just centered around him. You know what I mean? Like,
but they didn't have a Kyrie. I would argue that Kyrie is a better ball handler.
That's what I'm saying though. Is like how is it now with James Harden coming off the ball? Like how are you gonna like he's gonna be able to have probably a little more open shots, but like is he gonna be able to do that?
It's crazy because you're taking these 3 guys that have like one of the biggest attitudes in basketball, arguably. Like this is 3 of the bigger attitudes in basketball. I put Russ on the list too, obviously. Yeah. But how are you going to make that work in Brooklyn with 3 guys that are just noted issues, I would say, apart from
like, this is what James Harden walked away from back in, I think it was the 2012 offseason. Like OKC made a run to the finals, got completely slapped by a way like more,
they weren't good enough.
Miami team. No. And instead of going back, he said, I want to be the guy. And he left. He went to a different team that was like, we're going to build around you. And that's fine. We continue to build around you. Mm-hmm. And now, though, he's going into a situation where he's like going to be guy number 2, maybe 3. I get like probably 3.
Yeah.
But looking like maybe 2 if Kyrie decides like, you know what I mean? That's, I think, the wild card there is that if Kyrie doesn't come back, then it's a lot easier.
It's wild because, like, I think these 3 guys like to be the star on a team, and you kind of seen it in the way they've made their moves in their career so far. But you're moving to a team that already has 2 stars, and it's like, how long are you going to last in a spot where you can't be the number 1 guy?
Right. And, like, he showed it the first time, right? Like, since then, he's always been the number 1 guy. It doesn't matter if it was Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, who's come through there. They were guy number 2, and that was it. It didn't matter. And they knew that. Yeah. Now you're going to a team, though, that, like, Steve Nash is not going to give you...
Oh, poor Steve Nash, man.
For your first season?
Your first year ever as a coach, and you're dealing with these 3 on the
Not
on
only,
the team.
like, KD, he's fine to me, you know what I mean? He's there to play, and he seems like he's coming out to prove that his injury is not going to slow him down any bit, which is cool. I enjoy his style of play, but, like, Kyrie, not sure what's going on, as I've said. Like,
he's
why
missing? He's MIA.
Why is the real thing? Like,
insane.
Not sure. And then now James Harden gets thrown into the mix, and now you have 2 big personalities there.
I would say 3.
Fair enough.
Harden and Kyrie for sure are real interesting personalities. And then you've seen what KD is online and like the personality he has and like the way he just conducts his business. He doesn't seem like the biggest personality, but like he's got that attitude to him that it's just like he is larger than life.
Yeah. And these guys have shown that if the going gets tough, they're going, right? They're not getting in it. They're going to pack their bags and leave. So what scares me is not only the confirmed 3 picks going over, which are like within
down
range,
the road, right?
Right, which is like next year, or maybe this year coming.
Yeah.
So no, this year is a swap.
This one probably won't be a great pick.
No, but I don't think they have to swap this year.
No.
And then next year is a guaranteed one. Like on the even years, it's guaranteed pick.
Right.
So like. After 22, 23, you're within a range where these 3 guys could say we're high talented.
All 3 of them. They have opt-outs apparently.
Right. So now you're in a position where you could just say, okay, man, we're going to swap the worst pick. And you're getting better now too, right? Like they're probably going to convince, I could see them convincing Oladipo to stay there and to play and to kind of build around him. And like John Wall is coming back with some steam. I don't think he's elite anymore by any sense.
No, but he's still a high quality player that you can put on your roster. They definitely. I don't think they're better right now, but they're better for the future with this move than they would have been with just letting them walk. I like the move for the Rockets. I think it was
having picks is not bad either, and you now have you not only
especially
get
in the NBA
the potential to draft, but you get the potential to trade with them now too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the Rockets could go about now. They just gave themselves way more room to maneuver, like almost the same way that the Thunder did when they were like, we're just going to trade things off for picks. And now it's like, okay, we could wait and draft players and build around this, but also if we want, we could trade.
Yeah.
And it's so much better.
I think the funniest thing, I saw a tweet the other day about it, but they were talking about Kyrie. And they the tweet was that Kyrie left LeBron in Cleveland because he didn't want to be the Robin to his Batman. Now he's sitting here in Brooklyn as the Alfred. Like, that's so true, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that like he left already. It's because he didn't want to be the number 2, but now he's the number 3, and like it'll be real interesting to see how that works down the road.
It's not going to, like, unless he has a plan to split them up, because one thing I've noticed now is Brooklyn has given away a lot of their bench. They've got no bench depth. No. So unless you're planning on like a divide and conquer tactic where, like, James is going to get his time with just James, and maybe Kyrie and James might pair up for a bit, and KD, like, what I mean? They start all 3 of them, but then after the tip off, it's situational. It's, what I mean? They're not together. They're because that's like the only way that's going to work now. Like, you're going to have Joe Harris by himself.
It's wild. They went for like a big star approach as opposed to having a full team. Mm-hmm. It's a weird approach. I mean, like, I know Golden State had their big 3 or 4 that they ran with for a while, and that was it. But like, at least their bench pieces could do something. Like they had Iggy
Andre
for a
while, and Sean Livingston.
Yeah, there were little pieces that weren't like studs by any means, but they were serviceable NBA players that you could put in and count on.
And they didn't need to be scoring because the guys up front could score, right? They didn't need to be able to they just need to put like consistent buckets in, make the looks that you get, but not take over anything from the game plan.
Yeah.